Okay, hi, I'm Eitaro Hirota. I'm with NSD Architects. We're the architects for the village Langley. This is the village. Welcome. So we're in the main plaza right here. From the main plaza, there'll be a large boulevard that runs straight across. So that's kind of the spine of the village. And from the main boulevard, on either side, there'll be gardens. There'll be a village clock along here. Where you see the hydrant right now, there'll be a water feature. We'd like to use the cottages themselves as guides to get back to your household. So each household will have a distinct colors. This one here is the wayfinding color is blue. Other parts of the building are more of a neutral tone. What we try to do with the households is that we try to break them down into smaller cottages so that it doesn't look like a big building. So when you're walking down the main boulevard, it looks like a regular residential street. It fits in very well with the scale of the neighborhood as well. And I think that speaks to how much this will feel more like home.
My name is Scott Thorburn. I'm the development manager for Cambridge Developments, which is the company developing the village in Langley, where we are today. The village concept that we're trying to do here is unique and new to Canada, and this is the style of housing that works for our residents, works for staff, works for us. We think it's probably going to be the way the world moves, but for us to be the first is pretty exciting.
Okay, so now we're inside the household. So the way we've designed the household is that we've clustered the resident rooms to create this large open space. On either end of the common area, there are large windows that face outdoors. Yeah, so once you enter, there'll be a lounge with a fireplace. And then in the back here where you see the framing is the activity room. Right now we're standing in the dining room. The kitchen is there and the lounge is right there. As you can see, instead of creating walls that define the spaces, we've tried to keep the floor plan as open as possible. So it creates some flexibility in how you want to use the space. One thing that's unique about this project is that the residents will take part in the daily meal prep. And so we've created an island kitchen connected to the dining space. We're standing in one of the resident rooms. This is a single occupancy room. The bed will be here. If you notice, when you're in the bed, you have a direct line of sight into the washroom. We try to keep the windows low enough so that when you're in your bed, you can still look out. So in each duplex, there'll be a household with 12 rooms, one double occupant room. The number of people you're living with is very small in comparison to a typical care complex. You know, you can imagine you can sit around one table and have a meal. So it feels a lot more like you know, you're in an extended family situation. Persons with Alzheimer's, they tend to get agitated when they hit a dead end. So if you notice, when you walk through the households, there are no dead ends. Okay, so this is the sunroom, TV room / guest room. It's actually a room that we're hoping the residents and the people in the households themselves will define the use.
My dad was a developer in the late 70s, 80s in Vancouver, and then I sort of came to the business in the early 2000s. We were trying to look for new opportunities and new things to do and sort of evolve towards this style of housing, and this was a way that we wanted to move and grow forwards.
We're still, as a society, still trying to figure out what is the best way to care for our elders. And from the household model, I think this village project takes a big leap in terms of bringing the care environment closer to a familiar residential environment. This whole thing actually stems to my childhood. I didn't grow up with my grandparents, but I visited them every summer. And when I was growing up, they still had 3 generations living in a household. We had a small hotel, but there are 3 generations running that business. As a child, I could see what it was like to grow old. I think we're starting to miss that a bit. I'm hoping that we learn some lessons from this project that can be transferred to the city or built environment at large, so that it makes it easier for example, with people with Alzheimer's to find their way home.
Like if you or I were in this situation, we wouldn't want somebody following us around all the time. We wouldn't want somebody telling us where we can and we can't go. We want to be able to do what we want, no matter where we are in our life. Everybody wants that. That's just basic human respect. So that's what I like most about this. When all is said and done, you know, people are going to be able to come, live here, be respected, and live the best life that they choose to live, however they choose to live it.
Subscribe and stay tuned for part 2 of Designing a Village. We'll take a tour with the architect and development manager in the Oakwood Community Center and learn how we're designing a community. Coming February 2019.